Welcome to my favorite nonprofit radio segment called Nonprofits Care. Their causes are really extraordinary.
Welcome back to our second half hour of our show, Nonprofits Who Care. Causes are really extraordinary. I'm Ralph Grills, the founder of My Favorite Nonprofit, one of the hosts of the show, and my co-host, Elena Nee. Hello, Elena.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm grateful. Thank you.
Very good. And what we're going to do for this segment, we're going to talk about basically what My Favorite Nonprofit is and what we do. At My Favorite Nonprofit, we have a website called myfavoriternonprofit.com. I formed the company back in 2009 because I basically wanted to, from my previous ventures, give back some money to different nonprofits that were doing good in the community. I started searching online. I found out with the IRS it was filed over 1.8 million nonprofits as a 501c3 at that time, which I couldn't believe. That was just amazing, the number. So I thought, wow, how that is so many nonprofits. So I started looking and listed some of the nonprofits out there. And a lot of the lists I found is that 99% of them I never even heard of before. If it wasn't like the American Cancer Society or something like that, I really didn't even know that they existed. So it made me really think, how do these nonprofits get any exposure out there? So I thought to myself, wouldn't it be neat to have a spot that people can go to and actually be able to know that they can find a nonprofit they'd love to get involved with. So that's what I came up with this concept, My Favorite Nonprofit. So now, what we did is we built a platform on the internet called myfavoriternonprofit.com where people can go on there and actually they can promote their favorite nonprofit, or they can go on and find a nonprofit that's formed a group on our site and be able to follow them and to get to know about them to see if they really want to get involved in them. Because the old saying is if they don't know a nonprofit exists, they won't be able to get involved.
That is true.
Yeah, and Elena's been to our site, and what do you think of our site, Elena?
I think it's, well, when I first got on there, the lady came out and she looks so real.
Oh, Chantel, yeah.
So cute.
And she gives an explanation of our site. But what people can do is they can come on our site and they can look at the different tools that we have. We have a place on there that people can actually go and there's a directory of different nonprofits to look for. And in that directory we have about 5,000 nonprofits listed. So that gives you a wide variety of different nonprofits you can actually look for to see if you want to get involved with. And then those nonprofits are starting to form groups on our site which they can actually interact with individuals that come on. So it's basically a social community similar to like Facebook concept, but specifically for nonprofits. So people are coming on, instead of talking about what they did over the weekend like they would do on Facebook, on our site they would say, oh, I got involved with this nonprofit, it's really cool. So you can have really like-minded people really getting together and sharing their passion about the nonprofits they're involved with, as well as find other nonprofits they can volunteer or get involved or donate to. So it's a really neat way to get more exposure for the nonprofits. And so one other thing I've done, because in order for people to know about our site, they have to know it exists. I started doing some offline events to help get exposure and also help nonprofits as well. Things like this radio show. This radio show, every week we're going to be interviewing different nonprofits and giving them a chance to have more exposure, as well as talk about other nonprofits events. And then offline, we actually do events ourselves. Last May, this is actually where I met Elena, we hosted an event benefiting an organization called Up With People. And Up With People, if you don't know, they actually do performances around the world with students from the age about 18 to 28, where they're doing musical performances spreading peace and unity throughout the world. And every place they go in the world, they also do social community services in that area. They'll find different nonprofits and find out what their needs are, and they'll have their students volunteer to help them out, which is a great exposure for the nonprofits in that community, but as well as for the students, they get such an experience.
Yeah, a lot of education, hands-on.
Right, they get the hands-on of being involved, and so they become, pretty much being prepared for global citizenship, which we are becoming very global out there.
I forgot to ask our guests,
Uh-huh.
were they all singers and dancers, or they were trained there? Because they were so adorable.
Oh, really? Yeah, because we just last week had Pat Murphy on our show.
Yeah.
And Pat, he actually was working for Up With People in the early 2000s, and he was the program director. And at that time, they had like 5 casts traveling through the world that he was actually running. And so, and when you go and watch them perform, you would think they're professionals.
Yeah.
You would not know that they were just students that
Right.
were just out there, getting together for the first time. And the performance I saw was actually their first performance as students live, and I thought it was a professional performance.
They were, really?
Yeah, and
Wow.
it was amazing. I just can't believe how good and how they come together and they work together. You'd think they've been together for a really long time.
Right, they look like they have a lot of fun.
Right, and they really enjoy it. So what we did is we did a gala benefiting Up With People last May, and what Up With People did is that they had their cast actually traveling in Europe at the time, so they flew back part of their cast to help do the performance at our event. And then they took the alumni that were here and they combined it with the current cast, and they premiered songs that they never sung before that's actually now that are doing on their tour right now.
Nice.
Yeah, so we were able to raise over 100,000 for Up With People at that event, and we had a live and silent auction as well as the performance of Up With People. And the kind of exciting thing is one of the items we have. Are you familiar with the band called The Fray?
Yes.
Yes, most people are. They're very famous, based out of here out of Colorado. The Fray, they're actually some parents of the band members are alumni of Up With People.
Oh, I did not know
Yeah,
that.
and so what the Fray did is they donated a guitar that was signed by all the band members of the Fray, and they went on live auction, and so that was a really neat item that we had.
I forgot how much that went for. Did
Oh,
you
I went for
remember?
several thousand, over 4,000 I know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was a very great event. We had Rick Rolfe as our auctioneer, and Rick Rolfe, if you don't know him, is a great auctioneer. He actually did the Wounded Warrior Project. There's an organization called Passport for Hope, and they just had their event a few weeks ago, and Rick Rolfe was the auctioneer there, and he was very good. He just knows how to really pull through the hearts of people and get them to really put up the money for the organization that he's working with.
Was that the same gentleman that came and volunteered to help you with the car?
Yes, he was actually at our classic car. That brings up another point. So we do offline events, and so we did that one in May for Up With People, and then most recently we did an event, it was a classic car ride for benefiting Project Cure, another great organization out there that ships medical supplies throughout the world. And what we did there is there's a gentleman that owns Charter Financial. He has 12 different classic cars that he owns, and he actually donated them for the day so that people could bid on driving them. And so what we set up is like a caravan where they drove it from the warehouse where these cars were located in Highlands Ranch, and we took them to lunch over at the Arrowhead Golf Club, which is a beautiful golf club.
And some of the cars
Yes.
was very, very rare.
All the cars are very nice. And then from there, we went to Sonic Ice Cream for dessert and then back to the warehouse. And so we were able to raise money for Project Cure, but everybody got to drive a car that was blast from the 50s. And these cars were definitely, like you're talking about, some mint condition, rare cars that people would never, most people in their lifetime get a chance to drive.
I know, I was so amazed that his heart was so big to let him,
To donate those
To
cars to the
donate
day.
those
I couldn't believe it
cars.
too. So
Yeah.
that was a great event. So if you go to our website at myfavouritenonprofit.com, we actually have pictures from that event on the homepage with the cars on there. And I'm there with Lori Porter, who's the events manager for Project Cure. And so, well, the whole concept of My Favorite Nonprofit is to get more exposure and awareness for these nonprofits out there.
you do a lot, you know that, right?
Oh, I think that this is my passion now.
Incredible.
Yeah, since I've gotten involved, I've really seen where the hearts of people are that are involved with nonprofits, and that's really what makes me feel good to be able to do this for them. But we'll be talking more about what we're doing at My Favorite Nonprofit. I'm Ralph Grills, the founder, and my co-host Elena Nee. But we're going to take a quick break, and after the break, we will talk some more about how nonprofits get more exposure. We'll see you after the break.
Welcome to my favorite nonprofit radio segment called Nonprofits Care. Their causes are really extraordinary.
Welcome back to our show. This is Nonprofits Who Care. Causes are really extraordinary. I'm Ralph Grills, the founder of My Favorite Nonprofit, and I'm here with my co-host Lena Nee. Hello, Lena.
Good morning.
Good morning. And if you're listening to our segment before, what we were talking about is what we do at My Favorite Nonprofit. What we are trying to do, as people know, is give more exposure and awareness to nonprofits so they can get more attraction to people to either volunteer or donate with them. So we created a website at myfavouritenonprofit.com where people can actually go on the site and look at it and get involved with different nonprofits, as well as be able to promote nonprofits that maybe that they're already passionate about and working with. I think the key is collaboration out there. We have really decided that working with nonprofits, they are looking for resources. Even though they're nonprofits, they still need funds to keep their doors open. And a lot of the nonprofits, unfortunately today, because the economy has really seen a downturn in donations. And so what we are trying to really promote is not only the exposure for these nonprofits, but also for these nonprofits to be able to look at other nonprofits that may be doing similar things that they are doing, and then basically seeing if they can work collaboratively together so that they can join resources and be able to use the resources they have more efficiency. I've been involved with a lot of different nonprofits now that are looking at that type of situation. There's nonprofits out there that really are saying, okay, we need to look at other nonprofits that are similar in our industry and be able to see if we can work together to collaborate, and then we can have much more effect to the people that they're trying to serve. So with our site, it's the platform for people to come on and actually be able to do that. So if you go to myfavoriternonprofit.com and look at these sites, Elena's been to our site and she's seen what we do. We have this radio show every week just to give more exposure for the different nonprofits. This is our way to give back, to help nonprofits with people knowing about them. What do you have to say, Elena?
But the public actually can go on there and follow their favorite nonprofits.
That's correct. What you do and how the site works is you go onto My Favorite Nonprofit, you go to, there's a segment that says register, and then by registering, you're able to see, you can sign up as an individual. Individual memberships are free.
Nice.
So that you can sign up just like Facebook, sign up and you create your own profile. But there's one thing different than Facebook. The question we ask is, do you have a favorite nonprofit? And then you're able to put your favorite nonprofit in that section, and so that people can find you if they're looking for that same nonprofit. So that you guys can create forums and talk about the nonprofits that you're involved with and give them more exposure. And the second part to your question is, they also are able to go to the site and be able to look for a nonprofit that's on the site, and then with that in mind, they can actually get involved with interacting with that nonprofit to learn more about them.
Can they follow more than one nonprofit?
Actually, they can follow as many nonprofits they want to.
I see.
Yeah, because that, a lot of people say, well, why should I get involved with this nonprofit? I really don't know about them.
Mm-hmm.
This allows them to really know and compare the different nonprofits, is really see which one's the best fit for them. And then really it's good for nonprofits, because if they have somebody that really is a great fit for them, they're going to stay around and they're going to be volunteering and be more involved when they find out that this is the nonprofit they want to be with.
So our listeners could actually want to go in and help someone and they don't know yet, but they can go in right now and click on some of the nonprofits and get to know each one of them.
Exactly. Well, like I mentioned, the organization Project Here. Project Here has a group on our site. You can go on there and click on Project Here's group and then see what the Project Here is all about. We have a calendar in there. You can see the events for like the First Lady's Luncheon that they're having tomorrow, and that's going to be down at the Hyatt Regency. So you can find out what they're doing, their cause, their mission, but also interact with them.
So, I totally did not check my message that you called about that, and I have friends that are going tomorrow, and I don't get to go.
I do the same.
I know.
Next time, check your messages, please.
I know.
Because I really wanted you to be there.
I know.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun event. But we'll talk more about that after the show. But also, what Project Here is going to do is, like I said, they're having the First Lady of Mozambique as their guest of honor, and they're going to be raising funds to ship containers of medical supplies over to Mozambique. And the First Lady is going to be actually designating which medical units and centers that it goes to.
Oh, nice.
So it's going to be a really great event, and they're expecting over 1,800 people there.
Wow.
So it's going to be a packed house over at the Hyatt Regency, and we are hosting a table there just to help promote the Project Here's of the cause over there.
Okay, back to the all the nonprofits that have registered.
Mhm.
My favorite nonprofit.
Yes?
Are they all in Colorado or?
Actually, what the site is designed for is for nonprofits, not only in the United States, but throughout the whole world, to be a part of this. So this is going to be a site that you can really communicate with nonprofits throughout the entire world, doing good work throughout the world.
So actually, if somebody's listening and they have a nonprofit and they want to be a part of this radio show, they can also go on Skype with us.
Yeah, they can come and call in on Skype and we can have them interviewed on our show. We have already done that.
Oh
As a
yeah,
matter
that's
of fact.
right, that's right.
We had a guest call in from Europe, and so we have, guests that can call in from all over the world
Right.
and be able to Skype in. And actually, we had Aaron on there, which Aaron was, he is a blind triathlete.
Incredible.
Yeah, and he has won national championships and world championships
He did over 200 triathlons.
as a blind athlete. I
With
cannot
a
believe
guide.
it. Right.
So now I understood so much about why they have tandem biking.
Exactly.
What he said about swimming, they tie a rope to each other.
They tie a rope where he leads, this guy leads them, and then they do the same with the run, and everything else is that the guide is helping him, because obviously he can't see, but then the guide is, going to be, like he said, at least good or better than he is. Which he says now is hard to find because he is in such good shape.
Wow.
Right.
He's only 30 years old.
And only 30 years old and already done 200 triathletes.
And much, much more. Remember he said you don't need a vision to be a visionary?
Oh, that is so good, yeah. And so that's what we were about. We're trying to get exposure for these organizations, because Aaron actually is a spokesperson for a nonprofit called SeeDifferent.org. And See Different is basically the blind getting better, access out there and really helping the blind people with different things that they're doing. So this is a wonderful opportunity for people to really get out there and help promote and also support nonprofits that they are really passionate about.
So this is actually, it's open a new, I didn't even realize that people from all over the world can actually sign up into my favorite nonprofit.
Right, anybody in the entire world. Actually, I was at an event that was the Association of Fundraising Professionals 48th Annual Conference in Chicago at the McCormick Center, and former President Clinton was our guest speaker. And so I was able to see President Clinton speak, and I could not believe how passionate he is about, nonprofits.
Really?
Yes, President, he has his own foundation, the Clinton Foundation. They help with AIDS throughout the world, shipping medical help to the people for the AIDS. He has done so much out there. But one of the things happened when I was at that event, I met a lady who's the head of the Association for Nonprofits for the country of India. And India has, 1.5 billion people? And so she was saying the difference between the United States and India is that the United States is people are very giving, and they're used to nonprofits to be able to really help them out. In India and other places throughout the world, nonprofits are actually called NGOs, which is non-government organizations. And what they've said, she said, the problem they have there is that the people in India are not really, because of their culture, really used to giving. So they're not really, they're having trouble raising funds for these different organizations. So she said that she would be interested in taking a look at our platform for their country. And I said, as soon as we get the United States going and get everything up and running, we'll talk to you more about that. So we have the possibility of, obviously expanding through the entire world, helping different nonprofits and NGOs wherever they're at.
Which is this radio station, this internet radio.
Right. Well, that's the reason why I decided to choose to be on Mile High Radio, is the fact that we are able to be listened to throughout the world, and so that people can come on and listen online anywhere, and so we can promote nonprofits and coincides with our website, which is on the internet, so it all works together.
Have you ever gotten all the nonprofits that's on there, or more that's not on there, and on there to have a huge gala? Have you ever done that yet?
Well, no, we haven't. Obviously, we're just, in our infant stage as well. And so we're looking at doing some more offline events. But my goal is the next offline events we do, we're going to actually involve more nonprofits within that event. Instead of doing one event for just one nonprofit, that it could be done by that actual nonprofit. What we're going to do is a combined event that'll involve what you're talking about, many different nonprofits.
So they can literally get to know each other in person.
Well, not only get to know them more in person, but to actually make it a larger event so that everybody makes more money and gets more revenues for the organization.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the key. Like I said, with the exposure, then people know you're there. There you have the opportunity to get involved with you. If they don't know you exist, you're never going to get anybody involved.
Yeah, the amount of people that has such big hearts and want to help. America is amazing. I know that a lot of people are negative about this and that and the other, but literally America has the biggest heart.
Yeah, as a whole, per capita, America is the biggest givers in the world. And what's neat about America is not only they're wanting to help people here, but they're wanting to help people throughout the entire world. Just like, Project CARE, shipping medical supplies throughout the world. They're helping people throughout the world that most people didn't even know,
Right.
but they're willing to help them.
Right.
So this is something that's really
That's the
exciting.
unconditional love.
Yes.
I remember when I became a citizen, they wrote me in the Denver Post, and they quote me, and I said, America has the most, wait, what did I say? I remember him saying, can I quote that? So I learned unconditional love from America, from this culture.
Oh, very good. See, that's what's exciting is that. And the thing is that it really isn't unconditional because we're all connected throughout the world. So by helping somebody across the world, you're actually helping yourself because the universe obviously sees everything that's done. And so by helping people, there's a saying, go givers, you give, it's going to really come back to you.
It always does.
Yeah, and I believe that. It might not be from that person, obviously, but the universe has a way to bring things to you. And so that's why when you put things out, you need to put things out in a positive manner because that's what will come back at. If you're always negative, you're going to always see negative things come back.
Yeah, I do that with driving. Like when I'm not in a hurry, I'm constantly spending time letting people that are in a hurry do what they need to do, go in front of me, so that when I'm in a hurry, I call in that bank account, I call in.
There you go.
I'm cashing in, let me in.
Yeah, I had these ladies that were at a restaurant last night, and one was on has a cane, and another one was on her wheelchair. And so I got up and said, here, let me open the door for you. And then they're saying, oh, you just did your good deed for the day. And I said, well, I just did it because I think you guys need the help. And that's the thing, is I want to just help people because it just really makes you feel better helping people.
And pretty soon it becomes an automatic. Doing kind deeds for others, it's not like I have to make effort to go do it. It's an automatic that comes inside of you.
Right. Well, there's a show upstairs on a radio station, KLZ, which I used to do my segment on, the Eric and Angels show. It's called Experience Pros. But they have a saying is that go out and kiss somebody. And he says it's not locking lips, but kindness is so simple. And it's so true. Once you get in the habit of being kind to people, then it just becomes natural. Just like everything else out there. You just got to break the habits you have and really start looking at people with compassion.
It's the best medicine on the planet.
It is. To help people, it really is going to come back, and then the planet's going to be a better place to live. Well, that's our show for today. We really appreciate you guys listening. This again, I'm Ralph Grills. I'm the founder of My Favorite Nonprofit. I'm here with my host, Elena Need. And this is Nonprofits Who Care. Causes are really extraordinary. And we'll see you next week, and have a great week.
Thank you for listening.
My favorite nonprofit, where causes are really extraordinary. Together we can make a difference. You and my favorite nonprofits who care.
Find out how you can make a difference at myfavouritenonprofit.com, where causes are really extraordinary.
You and my favorite nonprofits who care.